Hey there, friends. Welcome back. This is episode 20 of Who the Heck Did I Marry? So, recapping the last episode, Ken has got himself a job at a Scottsdale car dealership. We need a car of our own. So, he ends up deciding that we are going to buy a Lincoln Mark LT, which is the truck version or the Ford F 150, the Lincoln version of the Ford F 150. It is the Lincoln truck, full size, extend cab. Four doors? Now I'm trying to remember. It was either four doors or it had the suicide doors, but nonetheless, it had two rows. So we could still seat extra people if we needed to. So this truck was what he drove to and from work every day until he got a bug up his butt that he needed something different. He needed something fun. He needed something entertaining because he was driving about an hour from Avondale to Scottsdale every day through traffic, and that was so hard. So he needed something more fun to drive, and he had always wanted a Mustang. So he decides we're gonna go get a Mustang. I went, I've never wanted a Mustang. I think I just told you in the last episode or the one before. I like to sit up. I'm 5'5". I'm a shorter gal. I like to see where I'm going. I like to be able to see around me. When I'm in super sporty cars like that, it seriously feels like I'm dragging my butt on the ground. And I always feel like I'm like trying to see over the steering wheel like Granny. So not on my radar at all when it comes to cars, not at all. And of course, I'm working at a car dealership. I was working at a Dodge dealership at the time, and I'm looking at some of these Dodges. They had come out with the Caliber. I don't know if you guys remember the Dodge Caliber, but I really had kind of wanted a Caliber because it was kind of a mix. It was like a car chassis, but it was a little bit bigger, higher. It was kind of sport utility. I had kind of had my heart set on a Caliber, but yeah, he decides that the gas mileage wasn't any better. So I know we weren't selling on gas mileage because a Mustang versus the truck, I don't see. And the other thing is if you've heard me talk about it, he had this Sport Track that was honestly kind of cool, kind of unique. He had lifted it, which was different. He had put a rack on top. He had put lights on top. So this car was a bit of his baby, his project. And I was really surprised when he came and said, because I'm sitting here going, we don't need another like car payment. We can't have three cars at this point in time. What are we going to do? And it ends up that he is willing to trade in his Sport Track to be able to get the Mustang. Obviously, we can tow our quads, go camping and everything with the truck, the Lincoln truck. So we don't need the Sport Track necessarily. So he's willing to trade that in to get the Mustang so he can enjoy his drive to work every single day. I mean, if the numbers work out, okay, fine. We were making payments over here. We're going to make payments over here. If the payments are about the same, again, I'm going to be fine. So we go to the Ford dealership. We look at him. He finds the one he wants, color. The only thing about this car that he was not sold on is the fact that it was an automatic. If he was going to have a Mustang, he wanted to have a stick shift. So, he could have fun driving it by being able to control RPMs, all those things. So we go ahead and we buy the Mustang. So now we have a shiny new Mustang. And of course, just having the shiny new Mustang is not enough. He needs to put a spoiler on it. He needs to put those window flippy on the sides. I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called. I'm not quite the car person, but he's, we've got a dash mat and he's changing the headlights and changing the tail lights so that it's unique, and he's making the car his. So he's got this. This is what he drives to work every single day. So he's working at this Scottsdale dealership, which is the reason that he needs this fun, shiny, flashy new car. And 6 months into us owning this Mustang, he says, I'm driving so far to work every day. I'm putting too many miles on the car. This car is getting way too many miles too fast. I'm like, that's life. That's a car. We bought the car. Like, you drive to work. That's what you have to do. What else are we going to do about it? He says, I think we should go get it. I think we should trade this in on a different Mustang. What? We need to get a new Mustang with lower miles. We need to have a Mustang with lower miles. If I'm going to drive this for every day, he's like, otherwise it's not going to be worth its value. If we don't get rid of it now, the miles are going to go up too fast and then it's really going to lose its value. We need to do it now. So I find ourselves in a car dealership again, and we're looking at Mustangs again. I swear to you, we bought the exact same year Mustang, same color. The only thing different about this one is he got his stick shift. So stick shift actually costs a little bit less, as cars go, than automatic vehicles do. So because of the fact that it was that and whatever promo deal they had going on, whatever they had for the trade-in, we didn't pay much more at all. There might have been a couple dollars difference in the payments, and he got himself a shiny new Mustang with a stick shift, which was exactly what he wanted. So we had purchased a truck, and then we had a Mustang, and we traded it in for another brand new Mustang, all in a matter of like 12 months, 18 months max. I'm driving the Lincoln truck now because we've given away this, or that we've traded in the Sport Track, and he's got his Mustang. So we're working at the dealership, or he's working at the dealership, I'm working at the Avondale dealership, and it ends up that they decide to close the dealership he's working at. They close it. And I don't know if we want to do a job count total. We were on job 8, I'm going to call it. The Scottsdale dealership was job 8. He gets transferred within the company because they do flat out close that dealership entirely. I know it's true. And they ended up moving him to a dealership in Phoenix. So he was working at the Scottsdale dealership, internal company transfer. They make him the office manager at a dealership in Phoenix. Around the same time that he is transferred to start working at this dealership in Phoenix, I am getting fed up working at the Avondale dealership. This controller who did fire Ken is not a kind person. She's a hard person to work for, and I had made it this long, and it just so happened an opportunity came about for a biller, and I was a car deal biller at the time, and it was at a different chain of dealerships, and I applied and went and interviewed, and I got the job, and it ends up that the dealership I started working at is the dealership right next door to Ken's dealership. So we are now working different dealerships side by side, different parent companies of these dealerships, but still the two dealerships side by side. On breaks, we could go out and say hey to each other. We started carpooling to work to save on fuel, to save on, all the things, mileages on the cars and all of that. So now we are both working at car dealerships in Phoenix, and for the time being, things seem to be going pretty well. Well, I was the third biller at this car dealership, and it ends up that after a couple months of working there, they decided they didn't have the volume for 3 car billers. So they asked me if I would be willing to transfer to another dealership. It was a little bit further away, but still in Phoenix. And I was like, yeah, a job is a job. They were like, well, you're the last one in, so first one out. You want to go over there and interview and to see if the controller, then we can transfer you over there, and then you save your 401k, your retirement, all the things. So I went over and interviewed, and they absolutely loved me there, and they offered me the job. So I basically stopped working on Friday at one dealership, and then I went in and started working the next Monday at the next dealership. So I've now kind of been switching some dealerships. Ken is working at the Phoenix car dealership, but that was also short-lived. I'll tell you why that job ended in the next episode.